Hey, good people. How y'all feeling? Hope you're feeling good. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is another last Tuesday of the month. And you know what we do the last Tuesday of the month? It is open mic night. So we are here to share some words, some good words from some poets. We're going to have some singers. We're going to have some community leaders and speakers here. And we're just going to celebrate, share our message, share our words. And you know why we're here. They say it's Black History Month and we celebrate this thing, but for a lot of us, for all of us, it's Black 365 days. You understand? But we're going to celebrate here tonight on the Poets House Live. I'm MsTONYA. I'm your host for the evening. I'm actually going to be joined by Mingle of the PD. So this is a special edition. We're doing Black on Black rhymes. And my co-host for the evening will be Mr. Les Echols. Les is coming on in very, very soon. So we're going to get the show started. All right, y'all about ready for this? Let's go.
As a Gamecock, Mark Lattimore being married in 2004.
You know what they say? What they say?
They say the last shall be first, and the first shall be last. We coming from the South, dirt roads and grass. William H. Johnson, Dizzy Gillespie, on the good foot get down. Y'all, we done birthed James Brown, Joe Frazier, Ronald McNair, from the cotton fields in Carolina. Arrived Eartha Kitt. She transported to Harlem, but her roots ran country thick. Althea Gibson, Chubby Checker, Mary McLeod Bethune. We done bred a lot of legends, but we ain't through. It's the South, we Carolina, yeah, we country. We put gravy on our grits. We frying fish down here with the heads on them, and we serious about it. Hot summer days, find shade under trees. Quench your many a thirst with a glass of sweet iced tea. We done traveled north, west, across these lands and back. A good many stayed that rare breed of black, that head up, stand tall, survivor of many falls, cause we keep getting up. Ain't never gave up, won't never give up. Yes, you are people, we country, but we built tough. Some of us, we bougie down, high cotton country. Some hood, ghetto, still country. We down south living, but we ain't living in no past. On the shoulders of our legends, it's our time to shine now. Full circle, back south. Cause they said, the first shall be last. Y'all feel at home? It's Carolina. We country for real. Y'all don't know what country mean to you. Listen.
We'll get it done, studios.
I don't know what it means to you, but this is Black History Month. And, you know, that is one of the pieces that I actually did a video for in 19. Dirt, Roads, and Grass. It celebrates us and it celebrates a lot of our legends. And I find it very fitting for today. We kind of paid homage to a lot of our legends from South Carolina. Eartha Kitt. Who else do we have in there? My mind is just drawing a blank for whatever reason. I guess only because it's live, but you know, listen to the poem. If you get an opportunity, I want you to visit YouTube and check out some of the work. I've got some great artists who are actually going to share with you this evening. I'm going to bring one of them up right now. I'm going to bring Mr. Amari Fox into the stream. Could you unmute yourself, Amari?
This is CNN. All right.
All right, man. How you doing?
We all good. Late work day, so this is definitely a good way to cap it off. Get my Black History, you know what I mean? Joints off, all that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's only fitting and it makes it really official to have Mr. Fox, here with us tonight. An educator, a man whose poetry and artwork we hear in the Carolinas, we know of him. And if you guys want to get an opportunity to get just a little taste, you're going to give him a little taste. That's you ready to give him a little taste?
Yeah, we make it do what it do.
All right, go ahead and do your thing, brother.
All right, we're going to go to Atlanta a little bit for the good doctor. So here we go. We've got some difficult days ahead. Like anybody, I'd like to live a long life. Longevity has its place. So welcome to Atlanta. I'm feeling Andrew Young. I'm international, dude. Off Edgewood to Sweet Auburn, where dreams were born in 1929. Now, he didn't quite get there with us, but when death called and he saw the mountaintop's view, he shared the king's vision. Not to be crowned one, but to reverse the dreaded Dred Scott decision. We in the building, the CNN building and mentoring Little Johns to man up and use their speaker boxes at the underground. Searching for the love below. Up Peachtree, High Museum, Lenox Mall. You've seen them from Bankhead to Buckhead, the coolest cutters at camp. I dedicated to you. The place and time is set now. This is a story all about how freedom riders rode in from many places and times in history. 1961, a bus departs from DC full of Yankees that don't know the ways and customs of the Deep South. Richmond check, Greensboro check, sit down on the job literally, where servers kindly say, our establishment does not allow us to serve Negroes. Charlotte check, Columbia check, cloaked in states' rights, the year's 1861, and the proud folks of South Carolina have made it plain the white man has no obligation to observe any rights of the Negro. So it's no wonder militias malign bullets into federal troops at Fort Sumter, where poor white men with no property, human or otherwise, are ready to die so that rich ones can keep brothers and sisters in their place. This freedom ride I rode not for nothing, honey. I had a dream. I drove it clear on I-2020 visions. All aboard, slaves. Welcome to the home of the masters in Augusta, Georgia. Now, there is a reason Ray Charles skipped his show dates. Unchain my heart and my people. All aboard for that midnight train to GA. Fort Gordon, signal calling, be all you can be, babe. Nose running, eyes water, I-20. No money, cry, slaughter, my honey, dead. Welcome to Atlanta. It's 1906. Y'all right, a rich riot. With wild winds of war, they got me gunning till I'm Emmett, till I'm done in. Running like Emmett in Dallas for Juneteenth me, because we didn't get the telegram that the shackles ended. Now, the locks chain my kink, but the locks ain't chained my mind or what I think. Whistle while you work, but not at white women. Now, it don't matter if you did it or not consensually. We are the expendables, hanging out literally with penis and mouth. Coroner's reports death by brain hemorrhage. This living on our knees, dying on our feet, or southern trees. Am I not a man and brother bullcrap? Got us almost grateful to be dead. But the defense can't quite rest its case, nor the dead rest in peace. 40 dead and 4 days for getting ahead, for getting a wage. But the A produced the king that helped sanitation workers at the expense of his death. That is monumental. On the mall in DC, his monument stands tall. So this freedom ride I rode not for nothing, honey. I had a dream. I drove it clear on I-2020 to Flowtown. Peace and love.
Woo, brother. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You understand? I always know that you're going to come through. I mean, there's just so much that you had in that piece. Give us a little idea about what inspires you as a poet, as a writer, as a Black man who happens to be a writer and a poet.
Sure. Probably I was one of those, I don't know, like I was like a half Love Jones refugee, half like old hip hop is dead cat. So when I got on the spoken word scene, I didn't really find my style. So I basically just said my rap is real slow. You know, I just articulated it and kind of slowed down the cadence. But so even when I started writing a little bit more consciously, I always had conscious stuff in the stash. But when I started getting invited to speak, I didn't want to just be the guest artist, you know, do something, get everybody open, and then like leave, or not really be a part of the full conference or the full community strategy. So
Right.
I've always led artistically, you know, art projects and stuff like that. But when it got to the point of being an organizer, I didn't feel like my actions matched my words. So when I went back to school, I started back in school when I was 25, and I kind of got thrust into it was a murder in Benedict campus, a young brother named Philip Lee. So I had this poem called Hug Life. You know, it's like a play on Thug Life and the whole Tupac tattoo. So I called HUG a metaphor for healing, understanding, guidance, and life. And
Okay.
when I did it, the campus, I was dropping a lot of jewels, like we should do this is how we need to move with Black people. So everybody was coming up to me like, what's the plan? Are you the leader? Where we going with this? So we actually wound up having an art club meeting like maybe 2 days later. And I knew I had to reframe, you know, I couldn't just do fluffy art. I knew I had to actually be a movement, you know, leader. And I didn't exactly know how to pull that off. I kind of freestyled as I went along. But,
I like
yeah,
what
go
you
ahead.
just said there. I like what you said there. You said, you know, I didn't want to be like fluff, you know,
Yeah.
and how important is it that your words, you know, how important are your words actually? Tell us about that, and how important are artists' words, especially right now in today's time. If you were to speak to young poets and young writers, and you're talking about getting away from the fluff, how important are those words? And let them know what you think about that.
Yeah. So first, I would say I kind of reversed it from hip hop. So like in hip hop, if you said you was a gangster, you know, you had to actually have street cachet, in which most people who was gangster rapping didn't. And I used to treat poets like that. If somebody did a poem about diabetes, I'd be like, yo, they got the you know, the blood testing and, you know, all this stuff. Like if somebody said something conscious, I would come at them like that's what they did. And I've learned to not box people into what they say. Everybody has their right to creatively say what they want to say. I think for me being an organizer, if all you want to do is the expressive consciousness, I think it's fine. I think it's like for people like me to position those kind of artists in a place where at least they could feel, audience can feel the message, even if that messenger doesn't do the work per se. I do think that being creative and using your words powerfully still counts. I just have like my own personal integrity where I want to match it with my movement building. So I would just say to young brothers and sisters who want to get busy, it is your responsibility to put your gift on display. Because in a way, no matter what you do, when people see your light shine, then that's what inspires them. That's what inspires them. So at least maybe be an advocate and say, like, I personally don't like deep dive into X, Y, and Z, but let me point you the way you could get some resources on that for sure. And I think when artists are in that kind of energy, they'll naturally want to elevate to being in the movement. But I try not to be mad at the ones who aren't. I think, you know, it's a process. And then I'll just say as a lyricist, every bar, every word that really comes from being a visual artist and a graffiti writer first. Like in graffiti, the way the words look on the page, every line, every design, and I kind of transpose that to my writing. I want every syllable, every word, and like you can look at my books and you can see how I interlock the words visually. I think people like reading my words better, and then when they hear me, they be like, "Oh, I get it." Which is why I came up, you know, catching the rhyme, catch me if you can. I usually just the alien look when I first spit. And then when people have heard it a few times, they'd be like, oh, I get it. So that's kind of my intention. So, yeah.
All right, man. I mean, I think that was some very valuable information that you shared. I always love when you're in the building. I want to keep you here, if you don't mind, if you can stay with us a little while and
No
maybe
doubt.
bring something else to us. All right.
Absolutely.
That's how we're doing this thing, guys. It is Black History Month. This is Black on Black Rhymes. And we're here celebrating Black history. This is the Poets House Live. And I am doing this with Mr. Les Echols. Hey, Les.
Good evening. Good evening. How are you? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Good, good.
I'm
here at the Go ahead, hon.
My wonderful co-host. I'm just boosting you up, because I love you.
I love you too, my friend.
All right, man. I want you to go ahead and just give us an idea of why you felt it was so important to be a part of this tonight. Why Black on Black Rhymes? What made you come up with the concept? Because you came up with that concept and came to me. So talk to the people and let them know why you and Mingle of the PD felt it was important to do this for the community.
Well, the past couple of years, as you know, Tanya, Mingle of the PD, I'm big on Black history, number one. So that's first and foremost. I'm big on Black history. Always have been since I was a little boy. And the past few years, Mingle of the PD has partnered with the Florence Library and done some live programming. We've had Harry Carson, NFL Hall of Famer. We've had the young lady from Hell's Kitchen was on board with us. We had a guy who did an interpretation of Rob Small. So every year we have 4 Black history programs every year. And so this year, with everything having to pivot due to COVID, we went to an online platform, and Black on Black Rhymes. And I mean, that came to my mind a long time ago. I just didn't have the format to really use it in. And then lo and behold, here we were, Black History Month, and couldn't do live programming. And so the Poets House, and you and I have partnered many, many times before. And I said, hey, this is an opportunity for us to use this concept of Black on Black Rhymes. People talk about Black on Black crime, which is not a thing, but so the concept of Black on Black Rhymes to bring folks together and to celebrate Black history, but also bring information to the table that the people need to hear.
Absolutely, man. And you know what? I just love when we're able to come together and bring something to the community. It's always an easy sell for me. And it's not even a sell, just pick that phone up and I'm there. And that's kind of like how we work. We just kind of put some ideas together and like, hey, let's roll with it. And so I think the people, should be pretty happy with what you got going on here. Will you talk a little bit about how important it is to celebrate Black history in the way that it's being celebrated right now? Even though we can't go out, even amongst COVID, I mean, people are going to have their thoughts anyway, but why this? Why virtual? Why couldn't you just say, you know what? We can't go out. We're going to postpone it and we'll do something next year.
Well, it's important that you keep the momentum going, because when you stop the momentum on something, when you stop a car, you stop. You got to keep the momentum going. And so you can't just say, oh, history stops. We got to stop celebrating history because of COVID. COVID's definitely a bad thing. And I'm a healthy median person. I mean, I'm not, if I go outside, I'm not going to drop dead. But at the same time, I want to be safe. I want to wear my mask, social distance, etc. So I think I'm a healthy median with the whole COVID thing. God has kind of blessed us to be healthy through this whole thing. But it's important that we keep Black history on the table. Black history has to be celebrated because there's so many, and it's not for us. Black history doesn't need to be celebrated for us. Black history needs to be celebrated for my kids, for the youngsters who don't know what came before them, who did what, who was in the Montgomery boycotts, who got beat upside the head, protesting for our right to vote.
Absolutely.
The John Lewises of the world, people like that, Martin Luther King Jr. And I know Martin Luther King Jr. sometimes becomes cliche in the conversation, but he's a vital piece because he's kind of like the cog that made the movement mainstream, so to speak. So he is an important cog in it, and we can't really forget that. But at the same time, there are so many different things, so many different aspects of history. I actually have a book called A Black 100 with 100 Black leaders throughout history, and my daughter picks a leader every day out of that Black 100 and looks through that book. And that's what we got to do. That's what we got to do. Not just Black History Month, every day. Pick a leader, find out who they are, pick someone in your field that's doing something that paved the way for something you're doing or trying to do.
Absolutely.
And see what they did, find out what they did, and follow in their footsteps or innovate a new way to do what they're doing. I mean, nothing we're doing now, we like to think that everything we're doing now is something new. We didn't reinvent the wheel, but we made our own innovative way. We made our own innovative vehicle in order to put when you go to take your car to a body shop, you change it around, you innovate, you bring it back out, it's brand new. It's the same car. It's the same car.
The blueprint is there.
You might have totaled. The blueprint is there. And so being able to bring that thing back out the shop and say, hey, this is remodeled, this is reset. That's what we have to do with history. We have to reset. And we are history. And I think that's what we got to. We can't miss that. We got this tunnel vision. We can't miss the fact that we are history. We can follow this person. We can look at these different leaders, but we can make our own history. Some of the things we do in our history, and we don't even document it. Some of the things that we've done is history. Oh, I'm probably the first Black person to do blah, 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 or the first person to do blah, blah, blah. But nobody really documents their own history. Nobody looks at we're history makers, people. That's
the first person in your town, the first one in your neighborhood, your family, you've got to document that. I like that. We
got to document it. We got to embrace it. We got to embrace it because we make ourselves a smaller piece of the puzzle than we really are. When it takes us to really complete the puzzle.
Right.
But the thing is that we have to be at the table and we have to have those skills. We have to have that confidence to be able to insert ourselves into that puzzle.
I agree, man. And I tell people, go ahead.
If you set that puzzle piece off to the side, it's there. Nobody's ever going to put it in the puzzle for you.
Right.
Right. So you have to get that piece and say, hey, where does this go? Where do I fit in to the grand scheme of things? Where do I fit in history?
Where do I fit in?
How do I make history?
And let people know. And, well, this, and a lot of people know, they see me, even in some of my posts when I take pictures, they see me a lot. I wear a lot of hats. And I mean that, I wear a lot of hats, but I wear a lot of baseball hats, and I wear a lot of hats that have the American flag on it. And sometimes when I'm out at the grocery store and people, I've had people actually ask me, like, why are you wearing those American hats? Like, why you got a flag on your hat? And I'm like, I am American, Black history is American history. I think oftentimes people forget about that. So I want them to know, I'm here, I'm Black, yes, but I am American. I am a native Black American person. So don't ask me why I'm wearing that flag. I'm not going to let people who have worn that flag and have taken it in a different direction, politically speaking. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to let that deter me from wearing it, because it does not mean the same thing to me that they're trying to make it. You know what I mean? So I'm so glad that we're able to do this. I want to get a poet to come on in and do a little bit of poetry, and then we'll talk a bit more.
Yes,
so
ma'am.
You hang out in here and we'll be right back. All right, man. All right. I am so glad that you guys are here with us tonight. We are celebrating Black history, Black on Black rhymes. This is the Poets House Live. We do this the last Tuesday of the month. And tonight is special because we are talking with leaders in the communities, leaders like my co-host, Les Echols. You've heard a little bit of poetry already from Amari Fox. He got things started off. And I want to bring another poet in right now, Miss Connie. Let me get her in the stream. Hey, Connie.
Hey.
How you doing, lady?
Good. I'm good.
I see you moving around, getting yourself set up.
Light here.
See, Connie.
Yeah.
If you teach me how to do those head wraps like how you got yours on, then I can wear a few less hats.
I love it.
All right. It's Black History Month, Connie. That's what they told us.
That's what they said.
Now, what does that mean to Miss Connie?
So, Black history to me is 365, 24/7. As long as I live in this earth suit, it's Black history, right? But for me, particularly as an educator, it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to highlight the contributions of Black folks, to highlight the intellect and the creativity and the ingenuity and the resilience of Blackness. Um, and it's also an opportunity um, to kind of bridge a gap that I believe exists between generations. Because even though, there have been different stages and phases throughout our history, it all connects. It all connects.
Absolutely.
And so that's an opportunity to kind of, connect those dots within the history.
You're right. You're absolutely right. And let me ask you a question, because I got a little something here I want to show the people. Beyond measure.
Yeah.
Beyond measure. Miss Connie is a writer, a poet, an educator. I'd like for you to talk about what some of your influences are as a writer. Why are you writing? As a Black woman, as a woman, however you wish to express that. But why do you write?
I write because I have to. It is as natural to me as breathing. I've grown up being a singer all my life. I've been singing since I was 5. I didn't start writing until I was about 18, 19. It was after my mother passed, and writing was the only way for me to process and express what was happening inside of me. And it awakened this thing that had been lying dormant inside of me that, like I said, was so natural to me as breathing. And so I write because I have to. I write because I have something to say.
All right. Yes.
I have something to say that only I can say, that,
Right.
I have a viewpoint and I have a lens that only my 2 eyes have seen. And so, but still they're connections. So
Right.
when I write and I express, if somebody reads, that other people can connect to my perspective as well. Also, as a Black woman, it's imperative that our stories are documented, because our stories get lost in the sauce. And so that's another reason why I write, to be able to document the stories that would, and that's really what Beyond Measure is. It's a documenting of stories that would otherwise never be heard.
All right. I tell you what, people can get an opportunity to check out some of your work. I know the book is available on Amazon.com. That is where I got the book. And I've got to get it so that I can get mine autographed, get a little signing going on with it. But I want you to go ahead and express yourself this evening, because I know you have something to share. Would you like to do that now?
I can do that now. And so I don't have a poem, but I do have an excerpt of Souls of Black Folk that I think is pertinent in this moment. And it was so interesting that Omari started talking about Atlanta. And so this is a portion of Souls of Black Folk by W.E.B. Du Bois, where he is talking about Atlanta in his era, where it is like this mecca of Black people that is starting to boom economically, with Black folks from all over the South. And so this is what he says. In the Black world, the preacher and teacher embodied once the ideals of this people, the strife for another and a juster world, the vague dream of righteousness, the mystery of knowing. But today, the danger is that these ideals, with her simple beauty and weird inspiration, will suddenly sink to a question of cash and a lust for gold. Here stands this Black, young Atlanta, girding herself for the race that must be run. And if her eyes be still toward the hills and sky, as in the days of old, then we may look for noble running. But what if some ruthless or wily or even thoughtless Hippomenes lay golden apples before her? What if the Negro people be wooed from a strife for righteousness, from a love of knowing, to regard dollars as the end-all be-all of life? What if to this mammonism of America be added the rising mammonism of a reborn South, and the mammonism of this South be reinforced by the budding mammonism of its half-awakened Black millions? Whither then is the new world quest of goodness and beauty and truth gone glimmering? Must this and that fair flower of freedom, which despite the jeers of latter-day striplings spring from our fathers' blood, must that too degenerate into a dusty quest of gold, into lawless lust with Hippomenes?
I appreciate you sharing that. So let me ask you this. What was your inspiration for choosing to pull that piece to share with us this evening?
So when we're talking about Black history, and we are talking about Black excellence in this 21st century, a lot of it has more to do with the amount of money or accumulation of wealth. And not that wealth is a bad thing. I want to have my house on the hill, and I want to be able to make decisions and choices based on, the wealth that I've accrued. However, it can't be my end all be all. And I think we're in a place right now where, are we really looking for beauty and truth and freedom and justice and righteousness and all of these things that our forefathers and mothers use as fuel to establish themselves? Have we traded that for a dollar? Have we, like Kanye said, have they made us hate ourselves and love their wealth? That's what Kanye says, and I see it a lot, particularly, among us. Like the dollar does carry a lot of weight, and I'm wondering sometimes if it carries too much weight.
I hear you. Because essentially, the bottom line is it holds a particular amount of freedoms. And by that, I mean conveniences that we all want. And I think they are necessary conveniences, because who doesn't want to take care of their family? Who doesn't want to have a roof over their head, food to eat,
right?
Warmth, shelter. But I think a lot of things that has been happening within the last couple of years are showing us that nothing is guaranteed. Look at what's going on in Texas right now.
Right.
So
yeah. So there's my thought. Like, so if the dollar collapses, do we collapse with it? Because we held it to this, to this standard. And so the way that the economic system is, it's not sustainable. What we had and what we were doing was sustainable. Community, farming, like taking care of ourselves and our own, and being community and bartering, and those things that made us who we are, right? That got us to this point. Have we reached for something else and left behind what is sustainable? And so yeah, that's my concern.
Well, let me ask you this. Where do you think this is going? Where are we going if we're watching what we think, what we could predict as far as the dollar collapsing, as far as what we consider democracy, because we're watching a whole lot of freedoms not be so free anymore. Mm-hmm. So what does that mean for Black people? What are we going to do?
Honestly, I believe that we're going to be forced into our beauty. We're going to be forced to recapture the essence of us when it's all said and done.
I like that. Say that again. We're going to be forced
forced into our beauty. We're going to be forced back into who we are. like multi-generational under the same roof. The individualism is going to have to cease. Getting back into community, people working together to raise children. And to be honest, I'm excited about it. I'm excited about it. It's going to be I foresee a difficult adjustment, just because it's so different from, I think, many of us, particularly maybe in urban areas, but in the South, like I remember, community helping to raise me and my sister. Like we're not so far removed from it. I think it's other parts of the nation. But yeah, back to farming, back to fishing and hunting, gathering.
You know growing. What? It makes a lot of sense. And I want to, you're on a topic where I want to bring a couple more people in with this. I want to bring Les in on this conversation that we're talking about. And I want to bring Amari into this conversation as well. All right, Fox, you can unmute yourself. Okay, you hear where Connie has taken the conversation with, some of the things that we need to be looking at as Black people right now. She said we're being forced back into our beauty. Give me a little bit of what you think about that, Les, in terms of where this conversation has been going.
First of all, Connie, fire. First and foremost, very good. Enjoy hearing you. I don't know if Tanya was paying attention to me backstage, but when you said souls of Black folk, I like perked up and started paying close attention. So that was great. But back to our beauty. I mean, you look at history. I mean, we're beautiful people. We have a beautiful history, and the big thing about history is that we embrace each other. We didn't look to outside sources. We didn't look to outside people. We didn't look to outside races. We embraced each other. We embraced one another. We embraced the beauty in what each one of us brought to the table. We embraced our Black women. Black women embraced our Black men, etc. There was no outside influences saying you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. We had to stick together. I mean, we really had to. And so, and we are getting back to that. We saw it since last summer. And it's very sad that it took George Floyd to really bring that out. Right, wrong, or indifferent, it's out. So if that's what it takes, that's what it takes. And I know a lot of people would, kind of scowl at that. But I mean, after several hundred years of oppression, after several hundred years of racism and et cetera, I'm tired of hearing about this racism stuff. And as a matter of fact, I was looking at something today. They were talking about Jeep Cherokees and how the Jeep Cherokee is thinking about taking Cherokee out of it. And so many of the comments were just, we can just stop. And, I said that, I've learned not to go back and forth with people on Facebook and social media. But my thing is, we said the same thing about racism for many hundred years. When does this stop? When we saw George Floyd, when does this stop? We've been saying the same thing. And so 1 year of inconvenience, 1 year of changing names, 1 year of pulling down a statue of a Confederate who killed my great-grandfather or hung my great-grandfather. 1 year of that inconvenience you just sold, then wow. We need to get back to our beauty. We need to get back to appreciating ourselves.
Absolutely.
Take care of one another.
Yes. Fox, I know you got something to say on this. Chime in, sir.
Yeah, I'm in a lot of conversations where you hear the two words, we should, or we need to. So all I have to say is, I think not everybody, but a lot of people have the answers. And there are a lot of people in places where the answers are being practiced, but we're not power mapping them or lifting them up enough to make what's already in progress radiate, which what I think will be like a rhizome is there's a seed, a root seed, and then a rhizome is like that root that shoots off and then sprouts up in another part of the garden. So all I have to say is I think if we start shining light on where a lot of things are already in progress, and maybe to Connie's point about stepping into that discomfort of the sharing and the equity and stuff like that, I think people will see the light, and then people who it's for will gravitate toward immediately. And then the people on the fence or people in the darkness, they have to see it for a sustained amount of time before they'll be willing to trust it. And then I think eventually the light will prevail. You're going to always have people who just don't get it or don't want to be a part of it. But I don't think that we should focus on those people only in the sense of if they try to disrupt or sabotage, you got to do what you got to do to keep them at bay. But I would say we got a lot of standard bearers that we still need to lift up, you know, locally in South Carolina, the Jessica Simpkins, so many people that we can lift up. And it's always, I know I did a Dr. King poem, but there's so many other people that I could have touched on as well, you know, the Babe Rustins and stuff like that. But also me being a New Yorker and coming to the South, I didn't like it at first. I didn't like eye contact and speaking to people I didn't know at first. But when I felt that it was genuine and it was actually part of the culture, and when I finally embraced it, like maybe 10 years later, then I felt like it started to go away. So I kind of miss like that down home, that southernness, you know, speaking to people you don't know, breaking bread with them, kind of like you already know them. Because I think that that's how Black people innately are. And so there's just telling the local stories. Like I love when people, so it's a trick that people use sometimes, but I think it's kind of fly. Like you hear people like Killer Mike or somebody talk about, well, my grandfather, or my grandmother. So that gives you like some kind of authority. Like my grandmother said it, so therefore it is. But I concur. Like my grandma broke a lot of bread with me and told me a lot of truth. Like, no, young boy, this is what it is. This is who you are. And we need those kind of legends in our own lineage. If we have positive people in our family, then we should really lift up those stories and those bloodlines. And then for the family secrets and those family traumas, that's where your village comes in. Is you have to go to where the love is, and we have to pull each other out of darkness at the vibration that we can do it. It doesn't mean like quit my job right now and screw it, I'm gonna just go, you know, work in the field and we're gonna do that immediately. But I think that we could start making the plans to start getting there. And then, like I said, I think once the light starts radiating for the people that it's for, they'll come to it. And then we have to be able to embrace them. But we got to build those dignity walls within it and be like, yo, this is how we do business here. No disrespect, brother. You know, you're doing your street thing or your whatever. We don't talk to women like that in this circle. We don't refer to men as, you know, like if you saying the N words and, you know, whatever with your peoples, that's one thing. But I try not to do that in public. Or like people that I don't have that kind of level of relationship with. I don't bring I try to honor my home training. The way I kick it with my boys and all that, I'm not going to kick it to the average citizen because we don't have that kind of relationship. So I always want to project that kind of dignity from myself to others. And I think just those Southern fundamentals, if we can get back to them, I think that's the starting block. But there's a lot already in place.
Right.
Now, let's lift up the work that's already popping.
You're right, because that is our culture. And we definitely have to go. I just want to keep using what Connie brought to the table. You know, we're going back to our beauty. And that was one of the beautiful things about us. So I'm gonna keep you in the mix here. And I want to bring up a poet. This is the Poet House Live. We are celebrating Black History Month. And we are in collaboration with Mingle of the PD. I've got my co-host, Mr. Les Echols. Yes, Les. So Les, I think, we've been having some really good conversation here about, where we've been, where we seem to be going back to. And what you think? You think it's time for us to hear a little bit more poetry?
Yes. I think we need to hear some more words.
Well, you know what? Go ahead and introduce some. You want to introduce somebody? I think we got Miss Attitude. We got who else we got back here? We haven't heard from Miss Attitude yet. Maybe we should.
Well, we need to put on the spot.
I'm with it. I'm definitely with it.
Is she ready?
Miss Attitude, how you feeling?
Well, now that I've heard all this serious talk about Black history, I had to change my poem.
So that made you change your poem?
Program with y'all.
Well, listen to me. You are black, right?
Every day. So long, I can't remember when I wasn't black.
Well, listen. Whatever words come from your mouth is going to be a part of the history. Go ahead and do your thing, man.
Okay, well, then I'm going to do my original. It's called Stay Out of It. Don't get between family because it gets nasty. Taking sides from the sidelines will get you fried and eaten for lunch. Mind your damn business. Stay out of it. That's their shit, not yours. What? You bored? Don't have shit of your own to work on? I don't give a damn what you think. Y'all don't know shit. Tell them, Lisa Ray, thinking they know your day-to-day when you know only what I tell you. Don't assume you know why we're not talking, walking away from one another. Don't care if you are sister or brother. I'm not taking disrespect. You rolling your neck. You're on the outside trying to make nice about what matters in my life. Work on your own drama with your own mama. Remember, I can say what I want about my family members. These are my people, not your people. I can trash them. You can't. We're related by blood. We got what we got, honest. You're not in this, and we'll work it out or never. However it goes, don't stick your big ass nose where it don't belong. I know my family better than you, always in all ways. Go outside, take a ride. Stop trying to cut the line and stay the fuck out of it. Peace, Miss Attitude.
Did you hear her, Les? Did you hear her?
Wow, that's emotion. That's heartfelt.
Yes.
Heart.
And we understood. We definitely understood. Miss Attitude.
Yes, thank you. Yes.
You always bring that high energy. You know, you always bring that high energy. You know, you give it to people the way they need it to be heard. And we were talking about getting into those multi-generational family living environments again. You know, the fact when you had that aunt who would talk to you the way that you needed to be talked to, the way that somebody else may not, you didn't get the message the same. So, you know, I appreciate your delivery every time. So I'm going to put you back in the backstage, and I want to bring another poet up. I see we got Keon back there, and Mr. Tyler is in the building. So let me just bring him on into the stream. All right. How you doing, sir?
Hey, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. How you doing,
Are we
poet?
beyond that threshold where it's awkward to say Happy New Year to folks? And you just kind of go on with it then now because it's almost March?
Well, listen. Since it's Black History Month, how about we say Happy Black New Year?
Happy Black New Year.
Hey.
Happy Black New Year.
I'm with it, brother. How you been?
All power to the people.
How you been, man?
Man, I can't complain. Blessed, man. I'm just happy to be here and having a chance to do some poetry. I really enjoy poetry. It's where I find my black joy. So, and we need some black joy because things have always set up against us in this country. So,
yes, sir.
Happy for platforms like yours and to receive the message that you were doing this and that I had an opportunity to be a part of it. I'm thankful. I'm blessed, and I'm gratitude. Thank you, Queen. Thank you.
Oh man, I love having you. I love when you're able to join us. So I know you got something you want to share with us. You ready to go ahead and do what you do, poet?
Yes. So mine is themed off of the song "Lost and Found." There's a song "Lost and Found" by I can't think of that sister's name. British neo soul sister. Can't think of her name, but it'll come to me. And but the song also fits with the movie Malcolm and Marie, and the trauma and the toxicity of that relationship. It kind of inspired this poem, and the poem is kind of written as how you enter into someone's life knowing that they're broken and damaged, and what you do with that, the responsibility that you have in handling them with care. So this one's called Lost and Found. Two people put together again, two survivors of all the chaos that they've been in. They traded war stories on how they survived the relentless barrage. Then they prayed for each other, and their words affirmed like scripture. It was like their own personal message. They were lost and then found, tossed away like garbage. They went into a depression, isolation. They found spirituality, a triage. Independently, they rummaged through the charred remains, one by one releasing oneself of the blame that turned into baggage. One day they traded treasure chests, left each other the lock and key, and what they found was beauty. Once considered their private little mess became more and pretty like a bearded collage. A masterpiece, valuable, and a symbol full of pain, tension, and stress, yet colorful, creative, and blessed. There was nothing to be ashamed. Their scars have names, and they forgave each and every one. They owned what they have done. They now can see a brighter moon from the darkness from which they come. Thank you for your light. Thank you for loving and attempting to understand me beyond my plight. Now let's take flight. No longer tethered to our past, together they achieved a comfortable cruising altitude, not too slow and not too fast. I am thankful for you, and I promise to never misuse or abuse the pain you trusted me with. My intention is to never weaponize this intimacy by abusing it. Each day with you is a gift. I never want to take you back to that place. Imagine the disappointment, me giving back the favor and equity that accrued over a petty disagreement. I believe in the science of love. It's more of an ecology. I want to keep us firmly planted in a new destiny. So here's my apology, maybe more of a promise that I intend to keep. We were coiled and wound way too tight. We were lost in a large room with no light. At the end of our rope, we lost faith and hope, yet we found each other. We were broken and left for dead. We were screaming and no one cared. We were painted in blood and tears and still no one read. We had to be unfolded. Just when we thought no one could know how this felt and how we held it all together for all those years, we cried uncontrollable tears. We had to learn to trust. We survived the fight of our lives, and we came out no worse for the wear. One could argue we came out better, but now we're doing this together. Two lines running parallel, only time will tell. As we chart a course to intersect, in life there are no safe bets. It's no accident how we met. When we met, we discovered we were strong enough to survive each other's big reveal. Now our scars are left uncovered, and together we continue to heal, lost and found.
Yes, sir, brother. All right. Always love when you share a lot of your relationship types of poetry. You know, they really do hit home because there's stuff that we all can relate to in some way or another. So I feel like sharing that is important because it allows us to actually be guided. You know, that's how I feel about it.
I think I'm trying to evolve, and I'm trying to even get into the part where if I'm not necessarily going through it, like a movie or a song will inspire me to think about what it must feel like to be in that, or what I would do to do that different. What would that sound like? You know?
Absolutely. And that's why I feel like, since you brought up, you know, a song could inspire you, I feel like music, poetry, just the arts in general are really important, because if we aren't getting or having those conversations, if we're not having the conversations that are coming from our parents or from mentors to kind of guide us in those relationships, because that's a part of our lives as well. You know, Black love, Black relationships. So I feel like to listen to some poetry like yours, or to be inspired by certain songs, this stuff for us to learn. So I appreciate you sharing.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
All right, man. I'm gonna put you in the backstage, and I want to bring up another poet. I see him in the backstage back there, Mr. Tyler.
Hey.
How you doing, sir?
Hello. I'm
What's
fine.
going
How
on,
you?
man?
I'm okay. You hear me fine?
Good. I can hear you.
Hey, good.
I can. You ready to share a little bit of poetry with the people? Because you know how you do with the poetry. You are. And I don't care. I say it every time. I don't care. People say you shouldn't say your favorites or whatever the case may be. But he is my favorite poet. Y'all need to know it. That's right.
I feel honored. That's a huge
Man,
title.
listen.
Definitely coming from you. That's a huge title, Lord.
I love your writing, man. I mean, listen, we've known each other for a while, and I don't really have to gas anybody up. I mean, it's open mic.
Oh, yeah, you don't do that.
And we've been doing this open mic thing together.
That's right.
We've been doing this for some years now, and COVID has kind of forced us to kind of everybody's doing stuff virtually. So just to be able to do this is really important, and I'm happy that we're able to do it. And I'm always happy when I get to have you share a little bit of poetry.
It's been a while. I feel good. Hopefully, I don't mess up. You set such a high bar for me.
Listen, they won't know. They don't know the poem. They won't know. All right, man. Do your thing.
All right. I do a lot of thinking, and sometimes I think too much. Oftentimes I do. It gets me in a little trouble, and you have to clean up a mess. The funny thing about it is, it takes longer to clean one than to make one. And it took a while to write this poem, but I hope you enjoy it. It's about my mess, my mind, and my wonders. Somehow they all turn out to be pretty wonderful after a while. I'm a wonderful wanderer. I'm a wonderful wanderer, and oftentimes I wonder. I wonder why is bad karma like a boomerang and good karma like a frisbee? One seems to return too soon and harder than expected, but yearning for reciprocation, making love feel stagnant in need of respiration, held up heaven, hold down hell, on earth still holding on to what's lifeless. It's breathtaking. Breathing life back into a situation that is obviously in need of help. So help me. Help me from these helpless thoughts. I'm helpless. Maybe I should helpless. Dreams got me confused and hopeless. Maybe I should hopeless. Same words, but a different play. Same play, but a different way. Maybe I should play a different way, but attention is the only price worth pay, so you sold it. Like a penny with a hole in it. Like a dollar with a soul in it. I put my hole in it. I mean, I put my soul in it. I mean, I put my whole soul in it. If you ever question whether I put my all in it. But they say that I'm hopeless. Or maybe I just lost focus. So focus. When did I develop these thoughts? This way of thinking? Because I no longer admire rainbows. I haven't seen a blimp in years. I don't look for weird shapes of clouds in the skies anymore. Head to the sky on Sundays. Head to the sky on Sundays. Praise the sun rays. I'm the sun that the sun rays. Mother Nature said sunset. Listen, have you ever seen a shooting star? Why do they say it's fall? When did it fall? When did you fall? When did I fall? When did we fall? Why do they only appreciate our fall when night falls? And it's funny how they wonder where you are, but some fell asleep on sunshine because they didn't know he was a star. Son, the universe told this son, have the faith of a baby bird, the courage to leap. Because maybe, just maybe, the only difference between falling and flying is your way of thinking. Perception. Persevere, press on, because on this Jordan stream, life is but a dream. Merely, dreams do come true. All you got to do is close your eyes, go anywhere, open them, and go everywhere. But who am I? I'm just a wonderful one. Thank you.
Ooh, 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 ooh. Yes, yes, yes. See, you know what? Even with, that whole jittery of the virtual internet thing, because it happens all the time. I mean, we see it on the news, we see it on everybody's shows. Let me tell you something. That message came through, man. I love that. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Oh, hopefully you heard it.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. All right. So I tell you what, man, I'm gonna put you
I'm
backstage
way
for
out in
just
the
brief.
boondocks.
Man, it's like that. I'm gonna put you backstage a little moment, and I'm gonna bring up Mr. Les. Unmute yourself, Les.
All right. Yes, ma'am. Gotcha. I'm back.
All right, Les.
My man Tyler, the Creator, spitting fire as always.
Always. Les, it's been a good night, man. What you thinking about the whole show that was going on here tonight?
I think it's spectacular. I mean, I think that this partnership between Mingle and PD and the Poets House was needed. People wanted it. People wanted to see it. And I mean, what better way to celebrate it than Black on Black rhymes, to have our people come, and anyone come really, and talk about Black history, celebrate Black history, because we don't want to see it exclusive, but it's all about celebrating our history. It's all about celebrating not just our past, but celebrating our present, celebrating the present circumstances we in. We all above ground. We all got life, health, and strength to a certain extent. And we celebrate our future. We celebrate these little ones that we send out here in the world every single day. Every single day, these little ones go out in the world. And so we want them to know about themselves and be rooted in their history, to know where they came from, to know what they're capable of now, and to know where they can do and what they can accomplish. So,
Absolutely.
So I'm feeling good. I mean, the lineup spectacular. I mean, always Tyler, the Creator, Connie, always. Man, just an awesome lineup tonight. So,
yes.
So MsTONYA, I mean, you did your thing as far as putting artists together, as always. As far as putting artists together, and
listen, man, it's open mic. They sign up.
Right.
They sign up and they come backstage within a timing. So,
right.
Once they sign up and they come in and I see them coming in, and I kind of we just let it flow. That's how we do, and those who are a little late or sign up a little late, well, hey, that don't have nothing to do with me. I'm here on time. If you can get here on time, we're gonna make these rhymes. That's what it is.
If you're tardy for the party, still get there. Right.
All right.
One more thing, Tanya. While I'm here beside you, I'm gonna bring up one thing. You mentioned some Black history facts, and so I just wanted to really quick just throw something out there. It's one of my favorite Black history facts, because growing up, I was a big comic fan, and so I'm gonna ask you this, Tanya. We're talking about a superhero, the first Black superhero, right? Mm-hmm. Out of Africa. And he had vibranium. He worked with, they had vibranium. They had the wealthiest nation in the world. Now, who am I talking about, Tanya?
Well, I'm going to just, I don't want to seem like a brainiac or anything like that, or, like I know all the Black history, because I don't know anything about comics, but I do know one comic, and I don't know if I'm right, and I could be wrong, but I'm just going, is it the Black Panther?
It's about 20 years before Black Panther.
20 years before Black Panther?
20 years before Black Panther. In 1947, there was a publication called All Negro Comics. And it was a comics company with all Black artists, all Black writers, all Black publisher, et cetera, et cetera. So it's an all Black made comic. And the superhero in the comic, you can Google it. I mean, I think the whole comic PDF might be online at this point. And the character's name was Lion Man. Lion Man. And he was from America, but he lived in Africa, and he protected Africa and the rich resources in Africa. And he had all these cat-like skills. That sound familiar? He had all these cat-like skills and abilities. And this is a Black created character on a Black created comic book company. Guess how many issues it lasted?
How many?
one. And you know why? Because it was so, when the competition of, non-black comics in the comic book industry, they didn't want them to succeed. They're like, wait a minute, who are you and what are you doing here? Who are your artists? Who's your publisher? Who are your writers? Everybody's black. That can't work in 1947. So we're going to put the kibosh on that. So they only published one issue. And Lion Man was the first black comic book superhero. In that publication, All Negro Comics, #1, 1947. And
Wow.
so I just wanted to bring a Black History fact, because everyone always says Black Panther, but this actually predates Black Panther. And actually, by the way,
It
little known
sounds
fact,
like that's where they got it from.
little known fact, Black Panther, the character actually predates Black Panther organization. So just a little tidbit.
Wow. Awesome. Awesome. I can always depend on you, Les, to bring us something that we did not know. Thank you
Yes,
for
ma'am.
educating us. I tell you what, it seems like the show just came and this hour passed by so quickly, man. I want to just kind of bring everybody back into the stream. This is kind of how we end, and let everybody kind of have a little last message of sorts. All right, let me make sure I get everybody's mic unmuted. I want to thank all of my guests here this evening. This has been a really, really good evening celebrating Black history, Black on Black rhymes. This has been a collaboration with the Poets House Live and Mingle of the PD. My co-host, Les Echols, he's always there for me. So I hope you guys look up that Black fact that he brought to you. So I'm just going to go around and let everyone give one last word. You already gave one, Les. So you just kind of stay right there for a moment. Miss Connie.
I woke up this morning with my mind stayed on freedom. Woke up this morning with my mind stayed on freedom. Woke up this morning with my mind stayed on freedom. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah.
Oh,
Miss Fannie Lou Hamer.
All right. Thank you for that, Keon.
Support historically Black colleges and universities. I'm an alumni of 2 of them. Wilberforce University is the nation's oldest historically Black college and university, founded in 1856, and it's the first owned and operated by us. There was one that was older, but this one, Wilberforce, is owned and operated by us, and we're still going strong. 165 years we just celebrated. And there's a Retool Your School event on Home Depot's website. Please go and vote for my schools, Wilberforce University and North Carolina Central University, where I got my master's. Vote for either of them. They're not in the same category. So please go vote, or if you yourself have a preference for one, vote, because they can win a wonderful opportunity to have a portion of their campus remade or refurbished. So that's a great opportunity.
All right. You guys definitely look that up, and that is something that I feel like we should all support. Thank you for sharing that. Miss Attitude.
I just want to tell everybody we're Black every day, 365. So Black History Month, I don't celebrate Black History Month. I celebrate Black history.
Well, listen, you said it like it was and like it is, and I can appreciate and I respect that. All right. Guys, listen, I don't know what happened. I don't know where the show went. I don't know how it's over. Mr. Amari, what you want to share last with the people?
I quote my man, Melvin Glover, aka Melly Mel. He said, a newspaper burns in the sand and the headlines say man destroys man. Extra, extra, read all the bad news of the war of peace that everybody would lose. The rise and fall of the last great empire, the sound of the whole world caught on fire. The ruthless struggle, the desperate gamble, the game that left the whole world in shambles. So I saw Beach Street, the movie, and then the title track, like the lyrics is cold. I think that everybody thinks lyricism is bars, but I think you can be spiritual with your bars as well, and just make it hit the soul hard, you know. And
yes, sir.
Wordplay all the time. So yeah.
All right, man. Appreciate it. All right, Les. I'm so glad we had this time together. Unmute yourself, Les. You ready? You got it?
Nope, I do not. Hold on.
Yeah, leave it. That's it. All right, man. I tell you guys what. It's been so good. It's been so good. And Les has already shared so much. He gave you guys Lion Man. You need to look that up. The very first Black Comet. They only had one series, but make sure you look it up. Support HBCUs. We're going back to our beauty. Support your families, your neighbors. It's all love. So thank you guys. And we'll be back the last Tuesday of the month, the Poets House Live. Thank you for joining me. See you guys the next time. All right.
Poetry, lifestyle, media, 'cause that's what I do.